Charley, in his quiet way, went up to George and asked him if he was tired of hitting 167, whatever it was. Oh yeah, sure, you bet. I will see you at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We were in Baltimore, as I recall, at that time. We had a day off the next day. Charley said, I will see you at 2 o'clock on the field tomorrow. And that's where they started.
Charley came up to me at the All-Star break and just said, George, I think you have a chance to play. I'm the only coach here that does. You got to give me your heart and believe me on this one, but if you change some things, I think you can survive at this level. Right now, you're not surviving. Well, I had no place else to go. You know, what am I going to do? Say, no, I like hitting 210. This is great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun hitting 210. So we showed up. Back then, there was 3 days off for the All-Star break. Wednesday, practice might have been at 6 o'clock. And he said, meet me there at 2. And we'll go over and talk about a lot of stuff, and we'll figure out a swing that's going to work for you. He didn't have the answer. We tinkered with a lot of stances, and he had a theory and a philosophy that he believed in, but my stance just wouldn't let me do that. So we experimented with a lot of stances. We watched some video that he had of other players, and he told me his beliefs, and then I went out there and took some extra batting practice.
I think it's safe to say he totally broke down Brett's swing. Because as I recall, when he first started, he held the bat way up there above his head. And Charley said, why are you holding your bat there? And George's reply was, because Yaz does. And of course, Yaz was one of George's favorites. And Charley said, well, that's fine. He said, that's good. And he said, and Roy White of the Yankees, when he's sitting left-handed, holds the bat right off of his left hip. And George said, yeah, he does. And so Charley said, well, let me ask you another question. Where do you have to have your hands to really start to get the bat toward the ball? Right there. And Charley said, bingo. He said, now, let's think about this for a minute. If we have to get our hands here to hit, why don't we start here? Good idea. So, and you can just see the thing coming into shape. And then, of course, Charley had all of his little rules of hitting, a little backward move. George always said that little back to go forward. Jack Nicklaus has his little head turn to get everything going. And that was George's little trigger mechanism, and then everything else. I think there were 14 rules that Charley had of hitting. Firm front side, back side to firm front side, and weight shift, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But work.
Yeah.
So, but as I said, defense was as much a work ethic with him as hitting.
I'm pretty much of the opinion that George Brett was going to be a Hall of Fame hitter regardless, but Charley helped him get there quicker. Charley helped a lot with his confidence, and Charley was really a George Brett fan. And I mean, Charley spent as much time with everybody else, but George Brett was a guy that he'd get Charley out. We'd be in Oakland, and he'd go, Charley, let's go hit. Boston, Charley, let's go hit. I just wanted to hit all the time.
A month to 6 weeks after they started the breakdown of the swing, and Charley got him and really started working him. Yeah, and it just, once that all started, you could just see the expansion of the confidence. I belong here. I can play with these guys. And there's always a doubt. And when everybody gets to the big leagues, there's nobody that thinks, yeah, I'm going to be able to play up here. I don't care how they look, what they say, how they sound, until they prove. You got to prove to yourself, and then you start proving to your teammates and your manager and everybody else. But this is the person you got to convince first, you, that I can play up here.
Ended up hitting, I believe, 308. Hal McRae came up to me after the season and says, man, you're screwed. You're 22 years old. You just hit 300. They're going to expect it of you the rest of your life. And I'm saying, well, Hal, I expect it the rest of my life. So I'm not screwed. I'm in a pretty good position. And then the next year, won my first batting championship at 23. And I just stayed with his program the rest of my career, and I'm glad I did. But he was a remarkable man. I put a lot of trust in him, and he basically put his reputation on the line for me.